Donald Trump's lawyers state that while the threats against Judge Engoron and Judge Engoron's principal law clerk may be, quote, vile and reprehensible, Trump argues in a new filing they do not constitute a clear and present danger of imminent harm as required under established precedent. Apparently, for Donald Trump and Donald Trump's lawyers, it's going to take somebody to be killed or attempted to be killed before a gag order can be imposed. I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch network. Abhorrent is perhaps the right word to describe Donald Trump's most recent filing before the Appellate Division First Department in New York, where Donald Trump is challenging Judge Engoron's very narrowly tailored gag order, which basically states, do not attack my principal law clerk, which Donald Trump and Trump's lawyers continue to do. Donald Trump filed an emergency petition a few weeks back under Article 78, which is essentially initiating a new lawsuit against Judge Engoron to demand the Appellate Division take immediate administrative action to block certain behavior by administrative officers. It's a rarely used device and not applicable here, as the New York Attorney General points out in their briefing. This is not the appropriate procedure for even challenging a gag order like this. Nonetheless, the Appellate Division First Department judge granted temporary relief, as they did earlier before the trial even started in this New York Attorney General civil fraud case, and temporarily lifted the gag order imposed by Judge Engoron. Now there's briefing before a full panel in the Appellate Division. So Donald Trump filed the first brief. Then the New York Attorney General's office filed their brief through the Solicitor General's office in New York, which included a very detailed declaration from the public security officer who deals with threat assessments regarding judicial officers throughout the state of New York. And in that threat assessment that was filed by the Solicitor General's office of New York, a public safety officer by the name of Charles Hollen wrote in an affidavit the following: the messages received by Justice Engoron and his staff every day has created an ongoing security risk for the judge, his staff, and his family. The implementation of the limited gag order resulted in a decrease in the number of threats, harassment, and disparaging messages that the judge and his staff received. However, when Mr. Trump violated the gag orders, the number of threatening, harassing, and disparaging messages increased. On a daily basis, the judge and his staff are being inundated with hundreds of harassing and threatening phone calls, voicemail messages, and emails that has resulted in the Judicial Threat Assessment Unit having to constantly reassess and evaluate what security protections to put in place to ensure that the safety of the judge and those around him are protected, signed by Charles Holton, the head of the public security, one of the heads of the public security overseeing all of the New York courts. And look, while MAGA Republicans and Donald Trump want to say back the blue and all of those things, there you have an officer. You have the law enforcement officials actually saying that what's occurring is the opposite. You are creating a situation of threats, of lawlessness, and again, all of that performative crap that's being spewed by MAGA when it comes down to it. It's not law and order. It is lawlessness, chaos, and disorder. And you have a particularized declaration right there by an officer, Charles Holton, saying the threats are imminent and incredibly dangerous. And they decrease when the gag order is imposed. They increase when the gag order is taken away. So then what does Donald Trump file in response to that, right? Article 78 filing by Trump, opposition by the Solicitor General's office with that declaration by the Public Security Threat Assessment Officer. Then Donald Trump's reply that's just filed that states, the communications to the judge and the law clerk, maybe, this is exact words, While vile and reprehensible, they don't constitute clear and present danger of imminent harm as required under established precedent. And that's where Donald Trump relies on his mafioso language. He hopes that the vagueness and ambiguity when he just posts the photo of the law clerk and says that, it would be unfortunate if this goes the wrong way, or, you know what to do, or gives the various signals with the photos like this is a deranged person, and words to those effect. Donald Trump knows how his followers are going to respond to that.
Did you know that your temperature at night can have one of the greatest impacts on your sleep quality? If you wake up too hot or too cold, I highly recommend you check out Miracle Made's bed sheets. Inspired by NASA, Miracle Made uses silver-infused fabrics and makes temperature-regulating bedding so you can sleep at the perfect temperature all night long. Using silver-infused fabrics inspired by NASA, Miracle Made sheets are thermoregulating and designed to keep you at the perfect temperature all night long, so you get better sleep every night. These sheets are infused with silver that prevent up to 99.7% of bacterial growth, leaving them to stay cleaner and fresh 3 times longer than other sheets. No more gross odors. Miracle sheets are luxuriously comfortable without the high price tag of other luxury brands, and feel as nice, if not nicer, than sheets used by some 5-star hotels. Miracle sheets are the perfect gift for your spouse, friends, or family who doesn't want better sleep and luxurious feeling bed sheets. And since these come with 3 free towels, you get 2 gifts in one, just in time for the holidays. Stop sleeping on bacteria. Bacteria can clog your pores, causing breakouts and acne. Sleep clean with Miracle. Go to trymiracle.com/legalaf to try it today or gift it to someone special this holiday season. And we've got a special deal for our listeners. Save over 40%. And if you use our promo LegalAF at checkout, you'll get 3 free towels and save an extra 20%. Miracle is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you aren't 100% satisfied, you'll get a full refund. Upgrade your sleep with Miracle Made. Go to trymiracle.com/legalaf and use the code LegalAF to claim your free 3-piece towel set and save over 40% off. Again, that's trymiracle.com/legalaf to treat yourself, a friend, or loved one this holiday season.
And then when they do respond to things like that, by the way, where Donald Trump then goes to his rallies and speeches like with Nancy Pelosi's husband. Then Donald Trump goes out there and then he makes a joke about it and says, I guess they should have built the wall around Nancy Pelosi's home, and then mocks an attempted murder by the MAGA followers. So it's all part of this totality of circumstances cycle of terror that Donald Trump is creating. And here's what they put in their reply as well, Donald Trump's lawyers, that was just filed. Respondents, the court and the New York Attorney General's sole cognizable justification for the gag order is that an unknown third party may react in a hostile or offensive manner to petitioner's speech, to Trump's speech. This should be rejected, since before the trial began and continuing thereafter, certain individuals to whom there is no indication petitioners have any connection or exercise any control have engaged in behavior that petitioner does not condone. So Trump's saying, I don't support this behavior of all of the people who I'm riling up with my comments. More specifically, the Holin affirmation, which I just read to you, contains no date or time references associated with the transcribed excerpts and nothing at all except hearsay regarding any communications to the principal's law clerk personal cell phone and or email addresses. So they're saying because the threats are out of court statements, unless you bring in the people who are engaged in the threats, they should be excluded as hearsay, is what Donald Trump is arguing. Can you imagine how disingenuous that statement is right there? The Holin affidavit includes no mention of the fact that on the first day of trial, the principal law clerk allowed herself to be voluntarily photographed, videotaped, and identified by name in the national and international media, despite the prior existence of purported security concerns. So then he blames the victim. It was your fault. It was the victim's fault why this went down. Moreover, the communications themselves, while vile and reprehensible, do not constitute a clear and present danger of imminent harm as required under established precedent. A presumptively invalid prior restraint simply cannot be justified by post hoc conflations of petitioners' valid concerns regarding the Supreme Court's partisan bias with the contemptible and offensive messages left by unidentified individuals on unspecified dates. In other words, Trump's arguing, you can't connect Donald Trump's speech with any of these people. These are just random, dangerous people who are on their own doing this. Trump has nothing to do with that at all. That's how disingenuous Trump's argument is here. And by the way, I think incredibly cowardly. While the comments by anonymous third parties regarding the principal law clerk's religion, appearance, and personal activities are reprehensible, they are not properly redressed by the wholesale suspension of petitioners' First Amendment rights, especially whereas here, serious injuries relating to the partisan bias on the bench loom large. That is nothing more than the endorsement of a prohibited heckler's veto. Moreover, as noted, none of the comments represent the requisite clear and present danger of specific imminent harm. Additionally, the purported security concerns are disingenuous given the principal clerk's voluntary publican partisan posts and political activities and her insistence in remaining as a constant, unprecedented presence on the bench, allowing herself to be filmed and then viewed by an audience of millions since the underlying extraordinarily high-profile trial commenced. In other words, Trump's arguing she deserves what she is getting, the judge deserves what she is getting, and then they cite this doctrine which they've talked about in the Washington, D.C. gag order case, the Washington, D.C. gag order brought by Judge Tanya Chutkan, where they argue this is like a heckler's veto. Like Donald Trump's a heckler, and he should say whatever he wants, and if somebody gets motivated by the heckler to engage in this conduct, it's not the heckler's fault. It's you got to go blame the other people for it. But you see that there's a clear and present threat that Donald Trump is motivating here. And finally, I'll leave you with this, now that it's fully briefed. It's just always such a cowardly position by Donald Trump. And to me, this is where, just like in the Washington, D.C. case, he wants to strike allegations that link him to the January 6th insurrectionists while he gives speeches at rallies playing the song of the J6th choir and praising the J6th insurrectionists, including the very violent and dangerous ones, and all of them are criminal, but praising the J6 insurrectionists. And then in court I don't know these people. What? What are you talking about? I don't want to be affiliated with these people. And same thing here is what he's doing. I'm just doing First Amendment speech. Blame all of the other people who are committing the crimes. They're the ones who are to blame. Don't blame me. I'm just the heckler. And that to me is like, just throw everybody under the bus, destroy everybody else's life, and they're all willing participants in it. And then Trump goes, I got nothing to do with this. What are you talking about? So that's what you see here with Donald Trump's reply brief that was just filed. There will be argument, and we'll let you know when there's a order on whether or not the gag order will be reimposed. I'm Ben Meiselas. This is the MeidasTouch Network. Hit subscribe. We're on our way to 2 million subscribers thanks to your support, and have a great day.
Hey, Meidas Mighty. Love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.